Hello, you are recording, no?
That is,
Okay. So last time I think we uploaded all these tables and finally we appended the sales data. And another table I can import right now, that is the return data. Okay, so you have to click on the get data, then go to text CSV. So I'll get some returns data. So same way, so as normal approach, you need to transform this data. You just click on that and make ensure that table name you have to change it and make that use first row is a header and press Ctrl A and transform tab. You select the detect data type. So that's it because this is the returns data. So based on the days, so and the product key and what is the return quantity. Okay, so the moment it looks fine for me, I'll go ahead and hit the close and apply. So all the record tables now we have imported to the Power BI desktop. So nothing to worry. But the thing is, so next step is, so what we did till now, basically we imported the tables, we clean the data, we run some transformation, and then we finalizing this data. That's it. Because now the next step is in the Power BI, you have to create the data model or table relationships that you call that. Okay, so I'll take you through that. So we'll create some conditional column and that index column basically. So in the Power Query, so you can create some index column. In the index column, what is that mean by index column contains the list of sequential value that can be used to identify each unique row in the table. Typically, it starts from 0 to 1, and that you can change it actually. These are the often used to create the unique IDs that can be used to form the relationship between the tables. So we'll see in the action. So what is the index columns basically? So I'm going to the transform data tab because that's all the things in the Power Query. So I click on the table actually cells data as an example. So I'll create some index column. So nothing to do. So you have to go to the art column and you have to click on the index column. So here you can get the option from 0 you want or from 1. So I'll get from 1. So once index column is here, you want to take to the beginning, you can drag drop, you can take to the beginning. So sequential number basically index column nothing but because this is used so sometimes you need this column to identify unique records of a table basically, and that is very helpful. Sometimes you are comparing some data, comparing some records basically between two records everything. And what is the conditional column? Conditional column allows to define new field based on logical rules and condition, like if then statements basically. So we'll run that. So basically, what we want to see, so we'll put some conditional column. So based on the order quantity, and so if order quantity equal to one, I need to return as a single item, and else if order quantity greater than one, then it's a multiple item. So that way I need to write this. So in the sales data which we appended so far, there you can find some order quantity in the this column. So based on that, you can see there is a different order quantity. You can see it here, one, two, three. So basically, I need to write a conditional column. If order quantity equal to one, I need to give as a single item. Otherwise, it is a multi-item. Simple. So two things. So to do so, you have to hit the add column step and you put the conditional column. So this is like simple if and if condition used in the Excel. So that is something different. This is the syntax is a little bit changed, but logic is same altogether. So the column name I need to give something you can see order quantity. Here you use conditional column name quantity type. So basically, I need to give this new column name. And here in Excel, basically, when you write the if condition, we refer to the cell name. But here you have to refer to the column name. So which column I need to look my logical condition order quantity basically. Operator equals to. So then what is the value? If it is a one, then I need to write the single quantity. Another clause. So else if. So if order quantity again, then you can operator we need to change if it's a greater than 1. Multi quantity, for example. Multi item, same example. Else I don't need to do anything others. So in last time, so you got all the output and you can filter it to see whether everything is fine for you or not. So this way you can write your if condition. So basically to understand so whether I need to get result like that only if it's single item or multi item. So all are clear on that? How to write the if condition? Or this is the basically using the user interface we get this. The same thing I'll write using the custom column. Okay. So add column using the custom another approach I'm showing you nothing but. So basically here same thing I need to write it quantity type. So in Excel basically we write that na if then here basically we take the order quantity equal to 1 then single item. Else if you can type this, you can see it here, it automatically will come, or you can select it here from here directly. Else if and you can select it and you insert it. So anything is fine. So next condition, if it's greater than 1, then multi item. The final condition always else others. LC order quantity greater than equal to 1, then multi-item, else others. So this here somewhere we are missing LC. Let's see. I think there should be a space actually here. So the moment you write, this is the same thing in Excel when you write this logical condition. Basically, we write that. So we start with the parenthesis basically, and we intend to the cell name where that value is there, and we write the comma operator there in the spreadsheet. But here little syntax is changes when we writing in the Power Query editor. This is called as the so Power Query editor actually, and the syntax is little bit changed, but logic almost same. And you can see that no syntax error has been detected. You will get the green checkbox here, actually tick mark here. So then your formula is perfect, absolutely fine, and click OK. So the same information, there is a two approach I show you. So if you are not familiar with writing the formulas in the custom column, so don't do that. You go with using the conditional column. The same thing you can see if you need to suppose you apply the formulas and you need to edit further. So check this, click on this gear icon. So it will take you back to that formula. So here you can change the things basically. And here basically you can see looking at the condition, here is more flexible actually. You can refer to a column, you can return a column value also here. Because from our requirement we get the value only. That's it. So everyone is cleared on that. So are you able to understand so how the logical conditional column you can create? So are you able
Yes,
to hear me, everyone?
yes, sir.
Okay. So I need to understand that whether you are able to hear me or not because initially there is a issue. So I need to
Okay.
understand that.
Sir, can we edit row value?
Sorry?
Like, sir, can we edit row value? Like, if order quantities are 2, 1, 1, 2, can we edit to 0 or something like that?
Which one? I didn't understand actually. So
Sir,
shall I go
in
back?
the product key, it is there 222, first one, first
Ah,
row. Can you edit? How can you edit that, sir?
this 332 you are to edit you are saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can edit means you want to change it to some other value you are saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you select it and go to the transform tab. Transform tab means it modify the existing column. Add column means it create a new column. Click on the transform tab, go to the replace value, and you have to give the value to find and replace it. So find and replace you can do it if you want to modify any item from that column. So are you clear? So I'm not sure whether this is the you
Want to
are.
replace the first row value. So if 332 is 5 time is there, then it will replace all the values. So how can I replace first row value?
No, no, I didn't understand. You are saying 332 will be 5 times. So, say the example here is the 2 times, I think. If you will sort this, you can understand. Let me sort ascending. So, this same example 214 is the multiple time is there, correct?
Yeah.
And your question is basically you need to modify only first row, basically, not the others you are saying.
Yes, yes, that is my question.
Yeah, in this scenario, basically you want to modify the first 214 that value only. This one you need to modify, rest you want to keep you are saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in this scenario, you have to put some conditional column, basically index column. We need to create it. Then you have to write this logic actually. So basically, what happened now? You need to sort this data here. How I sorted it. So before
Yeah.
sorting, you cannot do anything because once you sort your data here, basically, so as per your requirement, you need to modify the only the first row of that value basically. So you need to remove this 214 basically, not the entire the thing. So if you
Okay.
enter things and remove, then basically it will be find and replace you can do it. But you are saying only one record you need to, means one item you need to edit and rest you need to keep as it is. So then you have to write the that index column we need to create, and after creating the index column, so what you have to do, you have to put some logic here actually. So this is very complicated thing we need to create actually. This M code I need to write, then it is feasible. I'll show you next class. So how we
Sure.
can do that? Because see the problem is, so you can do that. Everything is feasible here. Only the thing is the you have to think on that logic how to build actually here. Because you need to sort this. That is very clear. You need to only 214 only you have to change it. Only the first row value. That's it. You are saying.
Yeah.
Hmm. I understand that. So basically, in this scenario, if you look at that, so I can, but using the index column, we can do that. It's a little complicated ask actually. This is so. We'll see in that next class actually. I'll show.
Yeah.
But what we are studying now, the how to create the index column. So how we can put the logics behind the columns. That's it. But this one you can do it. Everything if you want, we can do it. But the thing is, you need to understand the data. So your impact is only the first value. You need to change it. That's it. You're asking, and you using the find and replace. You cannot do it here. Basically, you have to write this if condition, then you have to replace it, and you have to add an additional column for that, not the same column, because I need to create a duplicate column of that. Then I can go it. I'll show you the next class basically how to play around that, because this is a little complex thing so you to find it. Okay, I'll let you know. So that is all the logics actually. When you work in an organization, you scenario will come, so you can transform your data accordingly. Okay. So conditional column you understood. So grouping and aggregating at one stage data is there. I'll show you how to group and aggregate. So grouping and aggregating. Group by allow you to aggregate data is a different level or a grain. Group daily records into a monthly aggregate transaction based code. So we have a product lookup table. So you want to aggregate the total quantity by order quantity. That's it. So in this scenario, you know the pivot table, how the pivot table works basically, correct? So by product key wise, I need to see what is my total quantity, correct? You right click here, you can click group by here, or you can select that column, or you can go group by here. So by default, the select column will be my product key, because I need to aggregate this data, group by this data using the product key. And my new column will be, say an example, total quantity, overall quantity. And my operation, there will be different operation. You can sum it or average it, median, mean, max, everything you can see. So I need to put my operation sum, and which column I need to sum, that is my order quantity is an example. So I need to group by my data based on the product key, and I want to see based on the order quantity. What is my total quantity against the each product key? So you can see that. To sort this descending, you can see that. So 477 product key having the maximum quantity order. So that way you can see. So sometimes your manager comes back. Basically, it's not an Excel data, na. So in Excel probably run a pivot table. You can give this information, but your boss come back and ask it. You are in the Power Query window, and I need Suraj something. Can you show me that? So what is the, that is the cost for product key or customer name or product color? So anything they come. So you can break the data accordingly. So this is the grouping and aggregating. Just I'm checking out, so I don't need right now. So pivoting will close it. So today we'll talk about the data model. So this is the very important steps. So 1 minute. So are you able to understand this Power BI? This is all the starting we are doing. So we'll go to the complex thing a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So everyone understanding this, no? It's not that much complicated what I'm thinking. So if you know the Excel, then you can grasp the things very fast. So now, once your data has been loaded to the Power BI desktop and you have inputted all the files, you made the necessary transformation of your data, and you think that you are good to go now for the data modeling, basically. Then you can go it. Okay. So, what is the data modeling? In this section, we'll cover foundational data modeling topics like database normalization, fact and dimensional table, primary and foreign keys, relationship cardinality, and filter flow. Okay. So, what is a data model? So, basically, if you look at this table, basically, so it's not a data model. So, why the reason? This is the collection of independent tables which share no connection or relationships. So if the relationship has not been built, you cannot call it as a data model. Are you clear on that? And if you look at that, if you try to visualize orders and return by product, and you would get that. So now, as an example, I don't have any relationship built now. So what will happen? I'll show you one some example. So why data modeling is important? Okay. I'll go for some visualization. Okay, 1 minute. Because I didn't put any connection now. But the problem is I have to go, I have to get some, say an example, some information on that. So I'll go so visualization. I'll create some matrix view actually. So I'll click it here. So here basically they want to show product name and order quantity and return quantity. So product name will be come from product lookup table. So I'll bring the product name. Either you can type and search it here. Product. So this is the pro. It's a joint name. Okay. So you can find it like that only. You can drag and drop directly here only. The moment you put it, you can see the list of the product will be displayed here. Or if you want to remove this, you can remove it. You can see here only this row section, column section, same pivot table layout will get it here. So I'll drop it. So let me bring some that font size. Let me change it. So it's a cell element. Let's say, so here because by selecting this, so if you come here and you click on there is a different option here. So this is where in the visualization steps. If you want to format it will give the format section. So basically on the grid view, you can see that. So if you look at here, see what are the options right there. So row padding, so value can you see here? So here is the font name and font value. So I need to give the old font, say an example, and I need to increase the font. Let's see what is happening. So I need to change this Suho UI board as an example. So here different option we are getting here. Basically, you can get everything here. So this is the value section, and you can see the global font size. So that you can increase it. It will increase your that text size here. Okay. And if you want to come back to your default stage, you can click on the reset to default. So you can explore it like mobile. So once you get into your child, so nowadays what happened now, kids are very smarter than you. Basically what happened now, they get into most of the time there. So like that you have to play around this basically. So then you can find all this, you can explore all this option actually. So there is lots of bunch of option available for you. So text color, anything you want to change, you can change it. You can see it. The background color, anything. So I don't need anything. So I'll get it. So here basically I put the my product name. I put the say order quantity. So see now your visualization step we need to go because row you put the product name, order quantity by default you put on the value. I'm just taking it order quantity into the value. So it is a by default. This is a sum, and I need the return quantity. See, it's showing the same thing. So let me remove the bold actually. So hello, let me type it the normal. So let it the normal one. See the why this is happening actually. So basically there is no proper relationship has not been built yet. Basically, I do have a multiple table in the Power BI data model, but they have not connected yet. So that's the reason I'm getting all the same value. So then I have to go here. So I have to build that relationship now. Say an example. Now we can see there is nothing is coming properly. So I'll go and I'll create that data model. So that is the importance of data model. So your fake table and dimension table. So I'll explain you that. What is the fake table and dimension table? So fake table your transaction table, dimension table your lookup table. So basically, your dimension table will be at the top. So that's the reason I'm taking all the lookup table on the top. So what are the table we brought? Bring the sales table here and returns data here. Because if you look at here, basically there is no relationship built yet. So that's the reason when I'm going to visualization, I'm getting the proper result output because my relationship has not been built yet. Okay. So we'll go to the data modeling. I need to create the relationship. The top what you're seeing is are all called as the dimension table or lookup table. So basically, you want to see anything based on, say, an example, product key or customer key. So you have to look from here because your row table has to put from the product lookup table, not here only sales table. Do remember that because both the table having the product key, but here dimension table will have a single occurrence. It's a called as a primary key. What you are seeing here, there will be only single occurrence of the item. Here will be multi occurrence of the item because sales data will the multiple transactions. So that's reason you have to always see by based on this dimension table. So any data you want to see, say an example, so customer name, product name. So anything you can pull out from here, not from transaction. To remember that. So now what will happen now? I'll connect both the tables now. So here is the product key, here is the product key. So what is the difference between two? So this is the many side of the table, this is the one side of the table. So the moment I'll join it, I'll drag drop. You'll see this table actually. It's a many to one side. So that's fine. So sales table will be the many side of the table. This is the one side of the table. You can see the product key has been repeated 371 multiple times. But here logically you can find one only. Okay. So I can save it. And if you look at here, yeah. So what do you mean by one? What do you mean star? Star means that this is the many sides. The moment you click on this, both the field item will be highlighted. Okay, both the field will be highlighted. So if you look at the product key, the star means the many side of the table. One means the only one side of the table. So again, I can see here is the product key. Here is the product key. Again, I can connect this both the two. Same thing you can see. Returns data is the fact table. So that multi occurrence of the product key here will be the single occurrence. So many to one relationship. So you can drop from here to here or there to there. That's fine. So one means this is the one side. There is just no duplicate of the product key. So this is the many side. There is a multi occurrence of the product key. So since I build my connection, so the moment I'll go to visualization, there will be something drastically changes in that value. You can see. So now my output result is what I expected. So if you want to sort it here, you can click it here. So if you want to see the order quantity wise, you can sort it here. Anything is fine. So you can sort the table, you can give the coloring. So everyone understood why that is important. If your data modeling is wrong, your visualization will go wrong. So if you have missed anything, na, so you are wrong with your numbers. So basically nothing but you'll spend 20% of the your effort there in the visualization. So what you will draw it here again the maximum time you can understand this because this is called as a data modeling. What we are doing right now. So any question, anything from your side so far? So are you good to understand this basically? Because see, if you are not understanding this, so there it's a problem because you should know. So why the relationship is very very important. So now this has gone out. So now move to the other things. So now that is the problem actually. This is the proper data modeling. Okay. And you have to very much because in Power BI interview you'll get these questions. Okay. What is fact and dimension tables? So you should understand this. What is the fact table? What is the dimension tables? So data models generally contain two types of the table. One is fact that is called as a data tables and dimension or lookup tables. So fact table contain the numerical values or matrix used to summarization. Say an example, sales, orders, transaction, page view, etc. Dimension table contain the descriptive attributes used for filtering or grouping. Say an example, you need to show by the product wise sales, customer wise sales, store wise sales. So all these things basically you can use as a dimension table. So the fact table here in the graphical you can look at contains the quantity value along with the date and product type fields. So here if you look at the product lookup table contains the attribute about each product type, brand, SKU and price etc. And this is a very very important factor we need to understand because initially when I started learning this Power BI, I was confusing here only because I was never thinking that I can drop that because field from the I always dragging the field from that transaction means fact table only. So, but it should not be the fact. So if you do have only the single transaction table, then you can do that. But if you have a multiple table connected, you have designed your fact table and dimension table, go ahead and drop the field from the dimension table only. Okay. So I created a separate calendar lookup table because my month I have to pick from that calendar lookup only, not that sales data date column. So primary key, foreign key. So I think so you have covered SQL means you might have understood that. So basically, so foreign keys they contain multiple instances of each values and relate to primary keys in dimension table. Simple. And the primary keys, same thing. They uniquely identify each row of the table and relate to the foreign keys. So this is the between the primary key and foreign key. You should have understanding this. So creating the table relationship, you can click, drag, and connect to that, or you can detect relationship using the manage relationship. There is a two options. So which is you are comfortable, you can go ahead. And star and snowflake schema. So that question you will get from Power BI interview. What is called as a star schema? The star schema is the simplest and most common type of data model characterized by the single fact table surrounded by the related dimension table. So nothing but your fact table is surrounded by the dimension table is called as star schema. A snowflake schema is nothing but is the extension of the star and include a relationship between dimension table and related sub-dimension table. And active and inactive relationship. So what do you mean by that? So sometimes what happen now, you have your sales data sales table and you have a calendar table also date column. So basically what will happen now? So you are connecting the date field from calendar table to the basically you can say that order date and stock date. There are two date in uh, that sales data table. So at that time, one relationship has to be active only at a time, and another one has to be inactive. The sales data table contains two date fields, order date and stock date. But there can only be the one active relationship to the date key in the calendar table. So you cannot, if you connect it, one will be by default inactive. Okay, and you can set relationship to active or inactive from either edit relationship dialog from the property, or you must deactivate one before activating others. So I'll see in that action what is active and inactive also. So what happened now? I built this table. So what will happen? There is a calendar lookup table. This is the date field. So an example, I'm dropping it here, order date. So an example here, if you look at here, no, there will be order date. I'm just drag and dropping it. This is looks fine for me. There is nothing to be worried. This is the perfect. So again, from the same calendar table, same field, I'm dragging and connecting to the stock date basically. There is a two date field here basically. So you'll see some dotted lines here. This is called as the inactive relationship. And the first one is the active, this was inactive. So how to make that active again? You double click that. You can go here, you can check it. Then you have to save it if you want. But first you have to inactive and then you have to active that. Okay, the other one. So this is the connecting multiple fact tables. This model contains two fact tables, sales data and return data. Since there is no primary and foreign key relation, we cannot connect them directly to each other. So let's build our connection now. So if you look at here, so what you have to do before building the connection? So date field I connected, I found this two date I connected it. But if you look at your product category lookup table, there will be the category name and product category key. And you find here somewhere product category key. Is there or not? You can see that. And if you look at the customer table again, so is there anything customer key is there? You can drag and drop it here and save it. And product lookup table, you have a product key. Here will be the product key. You can drag and drop it here. So you save it. So like that, you need to build your connection, build your data model, build the relationship between both the tables. So which are the common fields you find, you just connect it. So product category key, yeah, and here product category key, here product category key, you can connect these two also. This is called as the nature of the snowflake schema actually. Okay, once this is done, basically you can you are good to that. Basically, you see all the keys basically. So which are the common key basically in the both the table? You can go ahead, you connect it. Okay. So now this is done for me. So if you go back to the previous things, so this modeling. So here this tab you need to move it. So report view, data view, so everything you can. So filter flow is very much important things you should understand in the data model actually. So how the filter flow works actually. So data modeling after that we will discuss on the DAX part. So now once modeling is done now, so 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 you understood. So only the common field you need to connect to from fact to your dimension to fact or fact to dimension you can connect. So are everyone following with me the same thing? Because what will happen now? So if you are not following here now, your visualization will be go the wrong actually this number. Or I'll do one thing, I'll send this file anyway, but so you can follow with me or after the seeing the video instruction you can do that also. So any question, anything so far from you or you are finding little complex this Power BI.
Yeah, I didn't understand the difference between fact table and dimension table. Could you please tell me once more?
You didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So fact table basically your transaction table. So basically your entire raw data that is called as a fact table always. Because so you do have a e-commerce data, you do have a employee data, so anything. So that is called your fact table. Dimension table is the lookup table only because that contains unique fields only, basically unique records. But if you look at say an example, the fact table, I do have a sales ID, say an example, and say an example customer ID. So one customer might have purchased multiple times, correct? So that will be your my fact table. So dimension table means I need to see that so this customer how many times purchased from me. So I have to get the unique customer list. That is called a customer lookup table. So that is called my dimension table. So dimension table basically will be the unique records basically of the table. Suppose I am designing one table. So say an example calendar lookup table that is called as a dimension table. Why? So in the calendar lookup table you cannot see the date has been repeated there. So transaction might be attend the same day because 1st January 2025 multiple customer might have come to me multiple times they purchased. But calendar lookup table you can find only one date is a 1st January 2025. But my transaction table sales data will have a multiple occurrence of the 1st January 2025. So that is the basically the difference. So if you look at here, so you can I show you that now what is the major difference here. So if you look at here, so this is the understanding you should have. This is the fact dimension table. So you should understand that. So fact table contains numerical values or matrix used to summarization, sales, orders, transaction, page view. But dimension table contains descriptive attributes used for filtering and grouping. So that's the major difference you should know. And this is very much important thing actually. You should know actually which field I need to drop. So an example, if you look at my modeling which I created one matrix here basically right now. If you look at here, I dropped this field from product lookup table. Why? Because this is my dimension table. There will be unique product name there. Okay. So sales table might have the product name also. So they don't have product name anyway. Product key is there. So you have to drop from the dimension table all the fields by rows, anything you want to see, anything you need to aggregate, grouping your data, you have to get it from the lookup table only or dimension table, not from fact table. Suppose I need to say dates, an example, day wise, what is the thing. So instead of the product name, say an example, I'll get the calendar lookup table date I can take. I cannot go and take from date from here, sales table. Order date I cannot put. You should not put from here, okay? You should because this is both the date has been connected using this calendar lookup table. Na?
Yeah.
So that's the reason because always that's the reason the relationship is already built on them both the tables. So if you go from the only the dimension table, many things you need to visualize. So say an example, I need to see the product color, anything, product size, product style, anything you want, you have to drop it from here. The product color I need to put it, you can put it here. But you need to practice it and play around that actually. Then you'll get a hands on that. And if you're not practicing, then I think no use. So that is waste of time for you and for me also. You have to keep practicing because see, uh, I started learning this Power BI in 2017 basically. So done various projects, various companies. So I played, I worked with the Lenovo, I worked with the Emphasis. So I designed so many projects. So that's things. When you start working on that, so probably you will get knowing the things better, and you will face the challenges. As you ask a question to me, na, that is called as a challenges. You should know how to bring that. So that is called as a when you do things. So you have to keep practicing your data. That's it. Until unless you do practice, you cannot understand. So calculated column and measure everything we can I can tell you actually. So we'll go to the mid DAX section now. Don't worry, we'll do something today also. We'll close this. because you need to keep practicing this. Otherwise, it's no use for you. So meet DAX. So DAX, what is the full form of the data analysis expression, commonly known as a DAX? And DAX is the formula language that drives the Power BI front end. With the DAX, what we can do basically? So you can go beyond capabilities of traditional spreadsheet formula with powerful and flexible function built specifically to work with the relational data model. So what data model you created, so that along with that it will work out. And with DAX, we can add a calculated column for filtering. Basically, column we create for filtering, simple. And a measure for aggregation to enhance the data model. Simple things. Okay. I'll show you the two ways of DAX actually. I'll create a calculated column in my customer lookup table. Okay. So if the customer lookup that total children greater than zero, then they are parent, yes or no. That is called as a calculated column. So calculated column lives in the tables, measure lives in the visualization. Do remember that. Calculated column lives in the table and that measure lives in the visualization. So go to Power BI now. So what will happen? So this is my customer lookup table. Say example simple. And here basically I need to create a column basically using the DAX. If you look at the total children greater than zero, parent yes or no, I need to drop. So you right click here and create a new column. Either you click it here or you can click it, hit it here. So now basically this is the formula languages. Do remember that. You can control and your mouse scroll if you click that it will maximize. So now I'll write that this is my column name parent. I'll use the if condition if then syntax you can see logical test result if true and false. The same thing in Excel you use it. So question is if total children you can click it here but it will not take it. So that's the error I got it, no problem. So I have to write it here. So do remember here when you referring to a column you refer fully qualified column name. So what do you mean by fully qualified column name? So it should not only the column name. If you type your total children, you can see two things here. So this is called as a fully qualified table name. So that is fully qualified column name. So that will have the table name and column name. So that is the right way you have to write this, refer to a column name, not only the total children. This is the column name, but why customer lookup is added to that? Because it is referring to which table, which column, simple. Because when you working in the major project, big project, na, you will get same column, maybe other table also. Na. So that's referring the fully qualified table column name, it's a very much important. If greater than 0, then yes, their parent or no. Simple. This is the basic if condition which run in the Excel. That's it. And once everything is done, I click the tick symbol here. Commit. And I got this. If you'll sort by yes or no, you can filter it here also. You can see your result. So whether you have applied correctly or not, or any challenges. So yes means if you have a total children, you can see it here. You can see all are greater than 0. Select all. I can go back to the input. I don't need short. So this is called as a calculated column. Do remember that. And the measure basically what we are creating now, I'll show you. See, I need to create a measure called as a total orders, total revenue, quantity order. These three measure I will create now. So basically, how the measure works, I will tell you. See, before creating measure, na, so I'll go here in the report tab. So what will happen? I'll create a measure table. So how to create a measure table? You'll create on the new tables, an example. Okay. So before create, because I wish to organize my measure. So basically, you need to organize your measure. Do remember that. I I will create a separate table for that where I will drop all my measures. Do remember that. So to do so, so basically I need to create one minute. So this option I need to check. So there will be enter data one option will be there. I'll show you that. You can see that under home tab, na, enter data is there. Correct. You just click here. Here table name will give the measure. You can directly load it. No problem. So basically I'm creating a measure table here. Here you can see by default column one is there. Okay. Nothing to be worried now. I need to create a measure saying what is the total orders basically. So to do so, either you can right click, new measure, or you can do one minute. Either you can right click new measure, or you can click it here new measure directly. So the measure I need to create, what is my measure name? This is the total orders. And I have to start with the distinct count, and I need to give the order number from the sales data table. So this is my sales data order number. So the moment I'll click here, this total order has been created. And you just remove that one old one. It's not required from me now. And this way you can organize. So this measure I can see now. And if you need to format this measure as per that DAX formatter, you just copy this. I'll show you that. There will be a DAX formatter. You can format your DAX code. So your code will look very decent and understandable. So I'm just clicking here, same thing which I write there, and I'll format it. So see how the DAX is formatting my code. You just copy this, I can paste it here. I written the code, but I formatting I changed it. That's it, nothing else. You can write it also same way, all the syntax, no problem. So I'll go for the next code actually. So what is my total revenue? See, here is the challenging part actually. So generating the revenue, you do have a sales data, will have the order quantity into price basically. If you go it here, what is happening? Sales data table now. I'll go here. So here basically to generate the revenue, what will happen now? This order quantity is there, but price is not there. Basically, price is in the product lookup table. If you look at here product lookup table, so basically what will happen now? You can see this price column basically. So nothing but product price. Can you see here? See here basically two option is there. So what I have to do by default? So I can bring the price column here. So normally in Excel, what we do, you run a VLOOKUP with the product key. We can bring that. Here product key is my lookup value. I can get it. But here there is another formula called as a related. So related means what it will do now. If any relationship is built, it will it will bring this information from the other table. Right click, creating new column. So I'm writing the product price. An example. So I'm writing related. So what it takes only the one input is a column name. So which column I need to bring? I need the pricing column from the product lookup table. So I'll type price here. It will come automatically. So it will give me. There is nothing wrong with that at all. I got each price actually against the because why this price has come out actually because there is a relationship already as a build. Related means same as a VLOOKUP in Excel or X lookup in the Excel. Simple. We are not doing anything. We are referring to that particular column name which we need to bring here. Simple. Because of both the table has a common column. So that is called as a product key. So that is called as a lookup value. So once this is come, I can multiply quantity into price. Correct. So I'm I created here product price here. See, here is the problem is I drop it here only. This column, this table I drop it, so it will be there only. I need to get the revenues an example. I'll create another column, new column. So normally once I got this two column now I'll multiply order quantity, sales data order quantity multiply into price. So it will give me the output. There is nothing wrong with that at all because I got the pricing and I once I take it here now I can put it the revenue here. As an example, I can drop it here in the value section. I'll get it. So there is nothing harm at all. I'll get it. But the problem is I don't want to create a multiple calculated columns. I don't need to drop anything basically to because what will happen now? What is the major drawback here now? What we did now? Because we created multiple helper columns basically, and we finally got it the revenue. Okay. But the problem is same thing I'll create using my major column, major one. So how to do that basically? So that formula is something different. So I right click, I'll create a new measure because this approach which I created now it will kills more memory actually. The processing will be very slow. So try as much as when required you go ahead and create a calculated column where you can do it using the measure you do it the measure only. So here I'll create total revenue. So what is the formula here? So I'll write a sumx function actually. So what sumx do? Sumx is the iterator function actually. It takes two inputs. One is the tables, one is the expression. So table means which table I need to go row by row by row. So table means sales data table. This is my table name, comma, and I have already quantities there. but I need to multiply with price column. Just I'm bringing the product report. Same function which you use, I'm writing here. So I just make it some little bit readable format. So this is the DAX formatter I'm using. Okay. So what this formula does now, it will go by each row of the table of the sales data, row by row by row by row. It will fix the quantity and using the related function, it will fetch the pricing from other table. And then finally summing up. So I'm just tick marking. So you'll see actually. So what is the difference between two? Nothing different. You will get the same result. What I'm thinking. So let me drop one card visual here. Actually. So if you'll get these two, na, one is total revenue. I got it here, 24.91 million. So this is what I used actually. I filled this measure. I drop it here, and if you'll put the revenue also, I just taken out this. Just I'm getting the revenue. I'll get the same data. There is nothing wrong. But the measure approach which you designed here using the formula, so basically that is very efficient way. You do remember that. This is the very efficient way of writing the revenue. See in Excel you can do it multiplying the same spreadsheet. But here you remember in the pivot table you use the calculated field. So this is also same things, the measure. And measure, so there is something benefit of using measure is, so you can drop anywhere on your calculation, anywhere in visualization. But if it's in the column, na, it's not that much flexibility you'll find there. So now everything is done. So basically, what I have to do now, I'll go to the sales data table. So I don't need all this column. I just delete that column. Right click, delete column. Because this is not I'm looking at. Product cost also I brought it there. I don't need. Revenue also I don't need this. And this is the two measure we already created. So one is the total revenue and what is the total order. So next measure is the quantity order actually. It's a very simple thing. Right click, new measure. So write the sum function in Excel. You can see all the function you can find is whatever the list. Hello function, if function. So everything you can find. Sum, and I will take the sales data order quantity. Quantity order. So you need to understand what is the calculated columns. Calculated column allow you to add a new formula based columns to the table in a model. And calculated column refers to the entire table or columns, no A1 style cell references. Calculated column generate value for each row which are visible within the table in the data view. Calculated column understand the row context. They are great for defining the property based on the information in each row. but generally useless for aggregation, sum or count. So calculator columns are typically used for filtering and grouping data rather than creating aggregate numerical values. So these are the examples. We already get it actually. And DAX measures basically measures are the DAX formulas used to generate a new calculated value. Like calculator columns measure reference entire tables or columns, no A1 style cell reference. Simple. Unlike calculator column measures are not visible within the table, you cannot find measure within the table. They can only seen within the visualization like a chart or matrix similar to calculated field in the pivot table. Measure evaluate based on the filter context. Measure understand the filter context. Calculator will understand the row context. Okay. Measure evaluate based on the filter context, which means they recalculate when the fields or filters around them change. So that is the major difference between the measure and calculated column. And this will be the interview question for the powerbi. And what is the implicit versus explicit measure? So implicit measures are created when you drag raw numerical field into the report visual. So it's like I draw it, na. So order, quantity, everything, na. That is called as the implicit measure. Explicit measure are created when you actually write the drags formula and a define new measure that can be used in the model. So this is the recap of the calculated columns versus measure. So calculated column values are calculated based on the information in each row of the table, that is row context. So primarily it's used for filtering data in the reports. In the measure you should remember that are calculated based on the information from any filter in the report that understand the filter context and does not create a new data in the table themselves and does not increase the file size. So benefit of using measure is it does not increase your file size. So PBX file, na, it will not, because if you use multiple calculated columns in your data, so your file size will be increased actually. So your processing speed will be slow during your visualization basically. And measure or evaluate based on the filter context. Do remember that. So these are the basic math and start function in the DAX. So sum, average, max, mean, divide, same thing. I think it's, but in Excel we take the range of the cells basically. Here it refers to a column name. The same thing, same formula. We'll see in all these things in Excel in the next class. So probably by the time you start to explore these things, so how this formula can be written or everything. So any questions so far? Anything from anyone here? So everyone able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's a, so you're finding interesting these formulas everything because Excel you might have learned all these formulas, but here this is same thing because if you understand the logic you can apply it. Because until unless write the measure, how will you visualize basically your matrix everything? Because that is important. If you to very strong in the DAX also. So like Excel, you are strong in the formulas. Here in the DAX, you should, because see the syntax will be little different basically. Like how I calculated the total revenue. It's not so easy to understand because it has to go by separate way because I use inside the related function and I bring that SumX function to go row by row is stable. But the problem is in Excel, what you do basically, it's you can multiply it, you can get it. That's it. But here you can understand this. And the related function that is the same as a VLOOKUP function. So you use inside the formula one formula, another formula you have used, correct? So same way here only. Only the thing is you need to keep practicing your data and you have to keep practicing, I can say. Until else you keep practicing, you will not get into that. That is my one word I can tell you. Because when I started learning, I struggle with the darks and everything. Because to understand the filter context, flow context, it took me 1 year time to understand. Then I got a confident because after doing multiple projects and multiple practicing, then I came to know. It takes time because depends on your practice all these things because 1 to 2 years, 1 year within you will get hands on to that simple. And you have to do some live projects, so basically then you'll get confident actually. Until you do some projects, na, real time projects, we are doing something and I'll give some product also if we try with that. So basically that will be helpful. Okay, Suranjan, Rakesh, Pragya, Deepak,